People, deluded, I'm back again. Arsenal 2, Liverpool 1. And yeah, there was a bit of fortune about us winning that game and things like that. But it's nice to get 3 points. At the end of the day, it is a big game. We did what we needed to do. And, you know, we were rather fortunate to get the goals we did. You know, silly mistakes from Liverpool respectively. And I'm sure Klopp will be tearing into them if the players aren't tearing into themselves already. Because from a Liverpool perspective, I feel there was elements of what they were doing against Burnley. They're not taking their chances, not killing off the game, being lackadaisical. You look at Van Dijk, you look at Alisson, these are quality players, you know, took Liverpool to the next level. Lapses in concentration, whether there's something to necessarily play for them or not, I'm sure Klopp won't accept that. I'm sure they were trying to get the points, tally 100 points, and it's made their jobs, their task harder, if not mathematically impossible. So I know Klopp won't be happy, but in terms of Arsenal, you know, it's nice to get 3 points. It's nice to technically come from behind. For me as well, in the second half, I know Liverpool were piling on that pressure and we were hanging on. And, you know, it seemed like Arteta was just bringing on anyone that had to just waste time and stuff. But for an Arsenal perspective, we held on, because I was looking at that last 25 minutes and I'm pretty sure every Arsenal fan were thinking, there's a shake coming, there's an equaliser, maybe even 2 goals coming, and it was nice to hold on. Obviously, it was a weird game, man. It was a game of 3 halves. I feel the second half was a single half in itself, but I thought there was, let's say, a mini half for us in the first half. Going into the game, obviously it's damage limitation and rotation was going to be a thing. Some of these players have played a lot of games, not sure on the energy levels of individuals within our team, but we're just fresh off our North London defeat. We're playing on Wednesday. The games are coming thick and fast. You lot all know the potential problem that Arsenal faces if it does not get European football. I was about to say Champions League, but European football. And the only chance we have of that realistically is Saturday in the FA Cup. So you saw a couple of changes. I'm sure what raised most eyebrows was obviously Reiss Nelson to start. Obviously, you know, he scored and he was involved in the first. There's not a little bit of confidence that, you know, he's repaid his manager. And for Nelson, he's looked like he's needed a lot of confidence this season. Hopefully this puts a spring in his step, sort of thing. Lacazette the same, you know, it's another big game. I know against Spurs it didn't happen, but you know, he's gone against Liverpool. He's got a goal and assist technically, if I can remember correctly, and done all right. Going into the game, like I said, rotations means damage limitation. We just want to put in a respectable game. Of course, we'd like to win. Realistically, pre-game, not many people, myself included, expected that. We know there's a golfing class between where the two teams are in terms of stability and everything needed to be a consistent title challenger or Champions League club. We know they've got better individuals. You know, their front three, we know all about them as Arsenal fans. So going into the game, a lot of what happened in the first 20 minutes was to be expected. I think we did a good job of holding on. You know, we were playing 5 at the back. I think Tierney and Saka in particular were doing all right, but we was holding on. We're pending our home half. You know, there isn't much to do. For me, there's a couple heart-in-mouth moments. Players are losing the ball in silly areas. Like, I wasn't impressed with Martinez's distribution, and the mistake he made in the build-up to their goal was icing on top of the cake. And I feel, just before I forget, on the topic of that goal, I'm pretty sure Robertson wins a header and continues his run as involved in that goal. Mane isn't picked up again, like Harry Kane wasn't, even though he didn't score against Spurs. Like Vardy made us to pay for it, pay in that game. So I think first 15 minutes we was holding it up and things, and most Arsenal fans can say, well, Martinez isn't being put under increased pressure. Liverpool have the ball, they're looking all right. A lot of what we expected to be expected, and you felt the goal was coming. It was only a matter of time. We ain't got the best of defences, but it's a poor goal. You know, the bulk of it, I'm going to watch the game again, the bulk of it comes from obviously Martinez's goal kick. They take the lead and it kind of sums up where we are. There is a couple heart-in-mouth moments. Like I said, Martinez, with that, Lacazette played well, but he did almost lose the ball in a half. There was one incident just before half-time where Holding is trying to charge out of defence and getting a bit, losing his head a bit. You know, we're under sustained pressure, I feel. Obviously, I'm not going to criticise our wingers, because the way it was going, you know, the way they're pressing, I think we did okay playing out from the back, but the way Liverpool are pressing us, our midfield, we're outnumbered in midfield anyways. Torreira's coming to add a bit of steel, but we're outnumbered in midfield anyways, people. And add on that, the golfing quality. When you're midfielders and it's not a team where your team's going to be the ones in front, you can't really expect much from your wingers. And to be fair with you, you lot know me, I'm a big Pepe fan, but listen, I genuinely didn't think he was playing for about 40 minutes or so. what was I going to say? Nelson is trying hard and things. He needs to work on his offsides. He's being flagged offside way too much. But they're not in the game at all. You know, they're quite narrow to try and make our fullbacks do their thing. I feel Cedric Suarez is having a tough time in the first half as well, because Mane's the one Liverpool player that's hell bent on it, and the one player not with playing with elements of complacency. Robertson is getting forward. And things like that. But at the same time, I'm looking to my wingers. I know what I've said and I have maintained it. If your team's not getting on the ball, what do I expect my wingers to do? They're being instructed to do something. But at the same time, I did feel when we're penned in our own half and we clearly couldn't pass and they're clearly above us in that first 15, I felt I was looking to my wingers to just say, just try and pick up the ball. Because if you pick up the ball and go on a little dribble, you get fouled. You allow us to get high up the field. Also, you relieve a bit of pressure. And I'm looking at Pepe and Nelson. You know, dribbling should be two strengths for a winger. You know, the only winger I will accept not being able to dribble is David Beckham. In fact, he was a wide, he was a wide midfielder. There's a difference, or in fact, wide midfield is wrong. A right winger, obviously, because he was a quality player. But I'm expecting you to be good 1v1, and you know, I'm not seeing none of that from our players really. I feel Lacazette's grinding and stuff like that. Obviously, we get a bit lucky with our goal. I don't know what Van Dijk's doing. You know, lapses in concentration, and for someone that's a world-class centre half, someone that's been central to what Liverpool have done over the few years, Van Dijk won't be happy in himself, and he'll probably hold his hands up. And I know Klopp definitely won't be happy, because they've let their foot off the gas, whether they've meant to or not. It's from a Liverpool perspective, they shouldn't have been doing that. Either way, I'm not complaining. You know, it's another game where Lacazette starts. It's another big game he scores in as well. It's a good little thing for his confidence, and you know, every little goal helps. We get back into the game now. Obviously, I think that put a little spring in our step, because we started to get forward a bit more. You know, put something about us a bit, but still Liverpool had the lion's share. And again, it's poor mistakes really. It all originates from Robertson's throwing. I don't think it's his fault. I don't know what Alisson is doing when he's in possession. Again, you know, Nelson was involved in the first goal, and he obviously gets the second. People, it's good play from Lacazette to press and assist, if I remember correctly. And obviously Nelson puts it home, and we're 2-1. And you know, you can't believe it at this moment as an Arsenal fan. I'm happy for Reece Nelson because he's got a start and he scored. Obviously a bit of fortune, but at the end of the day, you know, he scored. It's been a big game. You know, he's at the end of the day, 90 minutes has come now. He's played a central role in Arsenal beating the league champions currently and coming from a goal behind. See, I'm running the Reece Nelson propaganda. You know I'm a big fan of his, and I was happy about that. But it was good for Nelson. It's good for Lacazette. You know, we pressed a bit. You know, individual mistakes. You know, if you thought anyone was going to make individual mistakes, it would have been Arsenal going into the game. And we did have a couple heart and mouth moments. I know most people going into half time now, and even before that, people. Before I forget to mention. Before the goal, the first 15 was the most important to me, because for obvious reasons it's a big game. I did feel, like I said about damage limitation and this defeated thing, and it's like not that we're looking past this game, not that we want to get embarrassed, but we've kind of accepted defeat, or this result ain't going to go our way, and we need to kind of pour our eggs into Saturday. I felt like, what was it, in the 4th minute we got a corner, and Alisson did very well from a Liverpool perspective. He's holding on to the ball, and he's holding on to the ball for time, people. It's our corner, and I'm looking at Arsenal, I'm like, alright, cool. Liverpool are probably going to, at this moment, because nobody scored, Liverpool are better than us. They're doing their thing. Why are we taking so long to take the corner? We're not putting them under no pressure. It's like Alisson just got the ball in his hand, just doing that. It's only Lacazette after a while he's come and taking the ball off him and giving it to whoever took the corner. But I'm thinking, yo, for Alisson, that's great. He's allowing his defenders to get organised. But from an Arsenal perspective, I'm thinking, yo, go on. You know, fundamentally why we won this game is because of individual errors, and it allowed us to get in the game, and it allowed us to get a bit of confidence up and stuff like that. Like I said, we got gifted the goal. At half time, I'm thinking the first 20 minutes, 15-20 minutes was obviously crucial, and we, despite going a goal down, I think we did okay. Obviously, crucially for Arsenal, we was able to capitalise on another team's individual mistakes and put ourselves in a good position. And obviously, going into half time, you're thinking, cool, you know Arsenal stats. All season we've dropped 21 points from winning positions, 15 under Arteta. We know half time is a crucial one, because you know Klopp must be bollocking his players. You know, there's an element of complacency clearly with where they're playing, and there's many things that they, you know, in the game against Burnley. Sorry if I said Villa at the start. in their play, fundamentally not capitalising when you've got high amounts of pressure and taking shots and all these things. For Arsenal, we know there's an issue of ours. Like I said, we're dropping points from winning positions. We know in the last 25 minutes in particular, Arsenal struggle, especially when playing in a game like Liverpool where we are doing the dog work and running and having to stay in position and all of these things, and we're doing it well. But people are going to get tired, substitutes are going to come, gaps are going to open. And second half, I'm looking at these boys and thinking, all right, cool. At the end of the day, we find ourselves in a good position, you know, winning this in the grand scheme of things, beyond the fact that it's Liverpool and some little banter we run with Liverpool fans, and, you know, it's a big game for the players, there's nothing. But one thing we need to work on is seeing out results and getting and having a big 45 minutes. And to be fair with you, I think we did. I think, you know, I've been critical on us, and I think, yeah, there was a bit of fortune, but I think we did well in the second half, man. I think we weathered the storm. You know, I was questioning Arteta's subs. I was thinking you could keep Laka on, but I get the way he demands his strikers. They're tired. Torreira, you'd ideally like him to stay on, but he's booked and stuff. Joe Willock in that false 9 role. I say false 9 because he's dropping into midfield and trying to press and stuff, and Aubameyang on the flanks. I didn't get all of it, but I messed with it, innit? Arteta's the manager, I'm not. This is why he knows ball. And I think, you know, there would have been big question marks of Arteta. Obviously, if we didn't win this game, the first one would have been, why isn't Aubameyang starting? It looks good now. We rested our key striker against league champions. We won, and a couple of other things he did. Second half, like I said, there were some heart in mouth moments. Luis started to scare me a bit. I thought he was going to creep into old habits. You know, Liverpool, there was an incident in the second half. It's like pinball, people, like with Mo Salah. Mo Salah had a good chance in the 54th minute. Like I said, there were some chances you thought Liverpool would have scored. Mane put one effort wide, which I've seen him score way many. It's a trade. When Mane gets the ball out wide on the left and he cuts in, trademark Mane goal when he takes them inside sort of thing, but he doesn't cut in, so he keeps going, but he kind of comes closer to the goal. I can't explain it, but you know what I'm talking about. He missed that, and I thought maybe this will be our day. But as an Arsenal fan, until the final whistle comes, you're never too sure. So at the end of the day, you know, Arteta got his tactics right. Whether, you know, it looks good because we won. If we lost, we would have been saying, you know, we've got one eye on Saturday and talking about fatigue. People would have been speaking about Aubameyang and things like that, even though he came on. At the end of the day, like I said, it's good confidence boosters for Lacazette and Nelson respectively. It gives us a little bit of confidence going into Saturday's game, which our season, next season, or the bulk of what we can do in the transfer market relies on. Like I said, man, we're all very critical of our team not being able to see out leads and switching off and stuff. And while we were no means perfect, and things like that, at the end of the day, the goal we conceded, in my opinion, was poor, and another cheap goal to concede. We saw out the lead, and, you know, the same energy I used to condemn the club and critique them for failing to do that is the same energy I've got to display in praising them people. And I think we did well to see out the lead. At the end of the day, we got 3 points. There isn't too many positives this season beyond a couple of young players breaking through and some good individual goals and things like that. But one highlight will obviously be getting 3 points against United, and obviously getting 3 points at the Emirates at Liverpool, against Liverpool, sorry. And I think technically, no, it can't be right. We're still unbeaten at the Emirates. It's been a minute. We can't be. Someone locked that off, man. Someone might have locked that off, but we still have a decent record this year at the Emirates anyways. And, you know, for Arteta, it's the first big game he's won. Like I said, man, if minimum, I just want to see some confidence for Saka and Tierney. I think they did well, you know. I think our midfield, I think they did well considering they had to run around a lot of stuff. I think nobody was amazing today. No one was poor. Like I said, Liverpool decided the game, and they're the only reason they didn't walk away with 3 points, because every question mark we would have asked of Arsenal, Liverpool, despite being the league champions and looking at on an isolated thing, they did today, and they were quite poor. So Liverpool have to hold their L, but their loss is our gain. We move forward to Man City in the FA Cup on Saturday at Wembley, hopefully seeing what that can do for us and things. So for now, people, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking and supporting as usual.